Hi, this is Paul. Welcome back to another edition of Playlist Companion. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to concentrate on one song and tell you a little bit in my own words and from my own recollection of what I've discovered, researched about the song and the group. And it's what they call a one-hit wonder. But the interesting thing about many of the one-hit wonders that have gone down in pop music history, especially in the 60s, is that there was a lot of talent and a lot of hard work and a lot of expertise that went into these one-hit wonders. We didn't hear very much later on about the groups necessarily. But that doesn't mean there wasn't a significant amount of talent and effort put into writing, recording, producing the song. So let's talk about Lies by the Knickerbockers. Now, Lies by the Knickerbockers is the song that's famous for being so close in musical appearance to the Beatles. And there's a good reason for that. And we'll get to that in just a moment. Let's just review a little bit about the background of the group and where they're from. They're called the Knickerbockers, and I'll tell you why they're called the Knickerbockers, is because that name came out of an original name for the group, which was Buddy Randell and the Knickerbockers. As I understand it, Buddy Randell used to live on Knickerbocker Road in what is Dumont, New Jersey. Now, Bo and John Charles, who were the other two founding members of the group, they lived not far away in a place called Bergenfield, New Jersey. Now, let's talk about Buddy Randell a little bit. He was the lead vocalist. He was the lead singer on the song Lies, and he was quite well known for playing the saxophone as well. In fact, Buddy Randell was at one point known, perhaps he was born with the name Billy Crandall, and Billy Crandall, at the ripe old age of 14 years old, was in a group with a guy by the name of Bob Gaudio. And you might know Bob Gaudio's name from, of course, the Four Seasons. And the man is legendary, not only for being a member of the Four Seasons, but such a prolific songwriter. Bob Gaudio and Billy Crandall, as he was known then, formed a group with two other dudes from Fort Lee, New Jersey. They changed the name of the group to the Royal Teens, and they came up with a song called Short Shorts. Buddy Randell was, at that point in his life, playing the saxophone at the ripe old age of 14. The group wanted to go on the road and wanted to do a lot of recording and have a professional career. He was so young that he couldn't go, and his parents wouldn't let him. So he didn't continue with the group, and he was replaced. But, of course, Billy Crandall, who then started to be known as Buddy Randell, was still interested in music, and he was really quite an accomplished musician if you stop to think about what he's capable of playing. Not only a great vocalist, as we know, but played the saxophone, also played guitar, and played the drums. So he was quite an accomplished musician in his own right. So Buddy Randell wrote the song Lies along with Bo Charles, one of the co-founders of the group. Now, they wrote the song in the style of the Beatles, and for very good reason. First of all, just as background, the group, the Knickerbockers, were like so many groups of their time, a group that would play in nightclubs and at dances, and all of the music they played was the music of other groups. So among the group they covered were the Beach Boys, the Kinks, also, of course, the Beatles. Now, as part of their rehearsals and part of their preparation for their gigs, they got to know and rehearsed the entire album Meet the Beatles. So they went for that sound on purpose. The harmonies were patterned after the Beatles harmonies, and so on and so forth. The song was submitted to a producer by the name of Jerry Fuller as a demo, and Jerry, who's a producer of many, many, many groups, former singer in his own right, liked the song, but wanted the group and got the group to come to California to record it in a professional studio there, and so they did. Now, it just so happened that the engineer was a guy by the name of Bruce Botnick. Now, Bruce Botnick went on to become a prolific producer in his own right with any number of top groups, including the Doors and including the Rolling Stones and many, many, many others. So you can tell right from the get-go that they had a good engineer in the studio at the time, along with Jerry Fuller himself. The name of the studio was Sunset Sound Studio in West Hollywood. They finished recording the song there, but Fuller thought it needed a little bit more of an edgier guitar in the song. And so he called up a friend of his, Leon Russell, of course, a legendary musician, producer, writer in his own right. And they went over to Leon Russell's house in Hollywood Hills because Leon had a bit of a studio in his house. They recorded on a beat-up old Fender guitar amp that gave the guitar a real edgy feel. So that's quite a bit of talent and expertise going into the recording and production of the song. The other person that we should name who was a member of the Knickerbockers is a guy by the name of Jimmy Walker. Now, Jimmy played drums, but he was also an excellent vocalist. If you listen to some of the Knickerbockers' old records, he's on there, and I would direct your attention to a particular song called I'm In With the In Crowd. And he does a cover, they do a cover of that song. And most of their albums are covers of other people's songs. And he does an outstanding lead vocal on the Dobie Gray song, I'm In With the In Crowd. You should really listen to it. It's really good. And when you listen to the album track, you can see just how good the group was as musicians, because they get everything just about spot on. It's really a wonderful rendition of that song. To be honest, I don't think it took them a lot of time to write the song. It might have taken 20 to 30 minutes, maybe simply because they had been rehearsing the Beatles, that it just flowed from that. So I think the song was written in 20 to 30 minutes. There was a lot more time, of course, invested in their recording and producing the song, but that's the truth of it as well. So, Lies by the Knickerbockers, written by Beau Charles and Buddy Randell, produced by Jerry Fuller, hit the U.S. pop chart in 1966. I think it only got as far as number 20, but it stayed with us to present day. And this group remembered as sounding like the Beatles, and it was a wonderful sound, and it was intentional, and they're quite a talented group. So, a one-hit wonder, I guess, in that sense, but quite a bit of talent that went into the production and recording of that particular song. So, Lies by the Knickerbockers. Thanks for being with me today. This is Paul saying thank you, as always, for sharing the music with me today here on Playlist Companion.